Well, it's
Good
awesome.
afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Kerfuffle showcase. I am delighted to have the three wise men of Webdadi joining me today. In the corner, we have Ollie Chappell. How are you, Ollie? Okay.
I'm good. Thanks, Simon.
Elliot in the bottom right-hand corner, and we have Mark on the left-hand side. How the devil are you lot? You okay?
Very good, thank you. Very good.
Good stuff. Well, as everyone knows, these showcases are very much you guys. Webdadi has been a name, obviously, within the industry for as long as I can remember. Certainly, when I burst onto the scene, being the Peter Pan character that I am, you guys obviously very well established. But we're going to treat today as if nobody knew you, and so obviously we're going to really try to get to the bottom of what you guys have to offer, and obviously the services you can provide for agents. I think before we kick off, Elliot, am I right in saying you've got one here we prepared earlier?
One we prepared earlier, into Blue Peter style. Yeah, give me 2 seconds.
No worries at all. And if it doesn't work, of course, this is classic Simon Whale, lack of attention to detail because we didn't have a run through. Everyone expects that with me.
We expect it.
There we go. I think can we see that?
Yeah, I can see it. Let me just add it to the stream, and then we can I just add it up like that. That's can you see it?
Great. Here we go.
Ready to play.
Cool, gents. Right, okay.
Can you sound of mine?
So there was a few. You've hit us straight away with a few obvious things in there. So what was that one? Was that Pedders talking about getting more leads than from ZPG?
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Well, that's
more valuation leads than they got total leads from Zoopla. Yeah, 4 times as many.
And not to take us completely off track, but that's how my mind works. Because that's really interesting, isn't it? Because the one thing the portals are often accused of is, look, buyers, no problem at all. We've got enough of those. But the ones you're really after, the valuation leads, is not something they particularly specialised in the past.
Yeah, no, exactly that. I mean, that's really what the website is for, is to generate those, valuations from vendors and landlords. That's actually what its job is. And it's great to see someone like Pedder really taking advantage of that through the website platform, really.
Yeah, they're great agency, aren't they? Down in London, aren't they?
Yeah.
So what? Just before we do go into it, what do you think the main reason? Why do websites, your personal websites, deliver for vendors in a way that the portals don't?
It's validation. It's validation of the business, and it's your shop window really to get across what you can do as a service. And the portal is great for getting your property stock out there, but everyone's the same. It's a level playing field of, this is it, are you interested? Actually, what the website is who are we as a company? What's our ethos? What are we going to provide you? And that's why actually it's the gateway for the vendors and landlords, because that's what they're interested in. They're interested in the personality of the actual agency and what they're going to give them in terms of marketing. And you've got to be able to market yourself, because fundamentally that's what you're doing for the properties. So they're judging you on your own marketing.
That makes perfect sense. So basically, I mean, you just become homogenized on a portal, don't you? I mean, you can change your branding and everything else, but by definition, you're going to have to blend in with everyone else. And the one thing you don't want to blend in with it in a marketing sense, well, you don't want to blend in, do you? So that does make, well, we've dealt that one straight away. That's one problem issue. That makes perfect sense. Here's the reason why these guys should be talking to you with that level of expertise. I've learned after bluffing for the last 20 years. So thank you for that. Guys, we're going to talk today about, obviously, you as a business in terms of the websites, the CRM, the marketing expertise that you bring to the fore here. And I believe the title of this in terms of there is Webdadi AU goes, we believe in removing the obstacles to successful sales and marketing. So that's a really interesting, obviously, because it's a catch-all for so many things. And I think, would it be fair to say that that is one of your key strengths, is that you do these disparate elements, you bring them all together?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's one package that does it all, just sales and marketing, but that's what we're specialists at.
Excellent. Well, we'll call it quits there then, guys. We've done that again. That's, don't worry. If the pubs were properly open, I might have taken that opportunity, but I'm not there. But okay, right. Well, let's kick off then, and let's go for a nice contentious one to wake people up from their lunchtime slumber. You've got the difficult after lunch audience here, so let's wake them up with what are the biggest mistakes that agents can make with their websites. Nice again, contentious one to get the ball rolling.
Elliot, take it away.
Yeah, nice simple question there to answer for everyone. I think the biggest mistake that people would make is not to value it. And I'll explain what I mean by that. There are so many successful businesses out there, successful agencies, and their success is based on, word of mouth, referrals, and their reputation locally. And they're great at their job, and that's how they garner business. And some people make the mistake of thinking, well, I don't really need a website. What's the website going to do for me? Or it's just something I have to have nowadays to put on a business card or something like that. And actually, that would be a huge mistake, because it doesn't challenge that element of your business. That's all sewn up, and that's the reward of all your hard work. But actually, what the website is a digital representation of that reputation online. And it's an opportunity for you to market to hundreds, thousands, even tens of thousands of new people who you couldn't reach by traditional marketing or word of mouth alone. And it allows you to take that reputation and essentially broadcast it to the internet in a way that's specific to your business. And by not valuing it, some people might make the mistake of saying, well, I just need to get a website and just purchase anything. Anything will do. Yeah. And actually, you're kind of undervaluing your business, because you wouldn't do that in any other sense. You wouldn't buy an old banger to turn up to a valuation. And you certainly wouldn't buy an old banger if it didn't even start, because it wouldn't fundamentally do what you need it to do. And as we discussed earlier, what it needs to do is generate valuations from vendors and landlords. And you're not going to do that with a website that doesn't reach people, doesn't have good SEO, isn't well designed, isn't structured in a way with a good user journey and pulling graphics. All of that is just as important in terms of the word of mouth, because that's how people will operate online. So yeah, that's really one of the main mistakes they can make, because if you purchase something that doesn't work, it's a waste of money. Yeah. So it might seem like a good idea to spend 50, 60 pound maybe on a website and think, right, that's sorted. But that's money wasted.
It's the most expensive, cheap mistake you can make, isn't it, really?
Yeah, there's no point throwing money away for the sake of it. It's got to fundamentally do what you need it to do. And the second thing in terms of valuing it is you've got to interact with it. We do our best at Webdadi to make that as easy as possible and to automate as much as we can. But you have to interact with it. You have to have relevant content on there, blogs, and actually use it as the advertising tool that it is to kind of reach out to people. I mean, perfect example is, what's just happened with lockdown and COVID. All of our best agents interacted with the website, put messages on there. What are we doing? There's no ambiguity there. Someone lands on the site, they know they're operating, they know they're working in a safe environment, and it helps reinforce, actually, I'm going to give these guys a call, because they've got the finger on the pulse. I can see that they're operating. Yourself, if you go to a website and it's out of date and it's not engaging with the audience, you think, well, should I give them a ring? Are they open? Are they, what are they doing? And that's the second thing about valuing it. You've got to interact with it and treat it with the respect that it deserves.
Really helpful hints there in terms of that. And do you think the attention or do you think the weight that agents give to websites has increased or decreased over the last few years? Are agents on the whole becoming much more aware that this is vital? Not just because of lockdown, of course, just the general trend.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they are valuing it more, certainly in the last couple of years. But actually, lockdown, we saw a huge increase of people on our platform making updates, because I think it's always been something that people know they should do and always wanted to do. But it's about finding the time, fundamentally. That's what it's about. And actually, lockdown forced people into that situation. There was no choice. You had to adapt. And I think people have actually seen the benefits of that, post-lockdown. And as we go into the another period. I know we're still semi sort of lockdown, but people have actually seen the advantages of that, and it's sort of chucked them in at the deep end, and then they can recognize exactly what they gain from it, and they can see tangible business results. And I think that's been really important for the industry.
That's absolutely right. In the same way that somebody who was, not overly happy with their home and was thinking about moving, if you hadn't been particularly au fait with your own website, you'd have been cringing going into specifically that first lockdown, wouldn't you? Where you could have been forgiven, because of course none of us could have guessed, but you'd have been feeling a sense of not just annoyance but anger at yourself if you went into this second one and you hadn't sorted it out by then.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's nothing worse than not being in control when you need to be in control, and just knowing, in hindsight, what you should have done is always one of the most frustrating things. So yeah, I think that's a really important point. It's really thrust it into the limelight. Interesting, we were talking to a branding expert who we did some work with, and they were saying that what COVID done has accelerated so much change in businesses, and actually that change isn't different from what it would have been, but it's just accelerated plans by 2, 3, 4 years. And I think that's exactly what you're seeing in the estate agency industry as well with websites.
Cool. And just specifically, why are your websites different then? Because obviously there's the reason why so many agents get kind of walk down the road and not making the right choices. There's a bewildering number of website companies, aren't there, that are out there, seemingly bedroom techies that can knock this up for absolutely no fee there. So how do you differentiate yourself from the crowd of obviously website providers out there, other than, of course, which I know is, I'm not going to let you have the easy one, other than obviously being dedicated to the estate agency market itself, which is of course critical, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, data is so important. That's why estate agency niches exist, is you have to import data and you have to be able to export data. And fundamentally, that's what sets us apart as a website provider. But in terms of, specifically estate agency providers, traditionally, you've always had a choice between template websites over here and bespoke websites over here. And each has their advantages and disadvantages. Template is cheaper and it's quicker to knock up. But obviously the danger is you look the same as everyone else, and that's your competitor down the road. Then you've got bespoke, which traditionally is very expensive and has a much longer build time, because you've got to engage in a huge project, which actually is quite scary for quite a lot of businesses. And they're quite broad choices. Our platform actually sits in the middle, and it's what we call a hybrid of both template and bespoke. So it's got the advantages of both. It's cheaper, but it's highly configurable. So it's basically one website platform, similar to Squarespace, Wix, this kind of platform that's highly configurable. So you can pick a theme out the box that's a template as you would know it, but actually you can decide, I want to move this around. I want to change the design slightly. I need to create pages. I need to configure things. So you have that bespoke element that you can inject into the project for the price of a template. And it makes it much easier now for agents to build a website the way that they want to, without having this huge build time, this huge dedication of resources, and also a huge budget. That's where Webdadi comes in. And the advantage of having that one platform is we can update that platform, because inevitably you launch a website. It's a huge thing for a business, and as soon as you launch it, it becomes out of date, and that's a scary thought for a lot of businesses. And then you then have to pay to start to inject new things into the website. And that's very hard to budget for. What we do is we actually release what we call innovation updates across the platform. So much like an app, it will automatically update. So all of our customers from our app store could just install these free innovations. So to give you an example, we recently did predictive text, predictive search on the websites. So it begins to suggest results for you. All of our customers could just update their website to inject this directly from the App Store. So it didn't matter if you bought it 6 months ago and that was prior to that development, you still got the advantage because you're on this platform that actually you could introduce that. And I think that's a huge thing for agents. It's future-proofing your website, because you never know what's around the corner. And it's very hard to make decisions and be pigeonholed at the point that you've got to choose.
That's a vital point, isn't it? Because the one thing that obviously frustrates, I think, everybody, but agents in particular, they'd get into what they would call this kind of the 3-year cycle, wouldn't they? You'd spend a lot of money getting it all done in there, and then you said literally a bit like driving a car out of the forecourt. The minute you drive it out there, it starts losing value and relevance from that point on. And the problem is, as well, is when you have that sort of relationship, the minute that you go back to somebody, with all due fairness, you might have come up with this innovation, but in the past you said this will cost 500 quid or whatever else it is there. You're losing the trust, aren't you, and the belief of the client, because it feels to them that you're being upsold after having just spent this big amount, isn't it? So actually what you've done there very cleverly is you're still able to deliver these enhancements that will keep you at the top of your game, whilst obviously not losing all the investment from that big rebrand that everybody does need to have every now and again, because the world of web changes so massively over such a short period of time, doesn't it?
Exactly that, and they have access to a CMS platform, so they have access to our software called VIA. Now, traditionally, what that would allow you to do is, change titles, change images, but beyond that, you can't really change much. Whereas actually our software platform, because it's a website building platform, you can change the titles, you can change the images, but you can get really advanced if you want to. You can build new pages, you can design new pages, you can configure loads of things on the website, and you can get as advanced as you want to. So, if you decide in 2 months' time, actually you need to create a new page for Meet the Team or a new service that you offer, perhaps you do loads of charity work, it's hard to think of all the things you might need at the point that it's being built. Whereas with this, you don't need to rush, you don't need to panic, you can do it yourself for free. And obviously the advantage with that is you don't need to wait for us to schedule it for you. If you need that page, you can build it in an hour, half an hour, 15 minutes, however skilled you are on the platform. And that makes a huge difference, because agents need it and they need it now, and you can't afford to wait. And actually having that freedom to build and design as you see fit, I think, is a key factor for estate agents.
I think you've highlighted actually there, and one of the biggest mistakes has got to be if somebody's coming to you without the ability to have that CMS, that, as they call it, is it content management system, isn't it?
Yeah.
That ability to amend things yourself. There's a huge warning shot straight off, because it does mean then every little change you want to make, that you'll say the immortal phrase, it can't cost that much to do, will get thrown back in your face, won't it? Because you are, gonna get, undoubtedly get a bill from them each time you're doing it. So watch out for that and ensure that you have control over your content to a large degree yourself.
Yeah, exactly that. And also the platform allows you to integrate with Google Tag Manager, which is a really clever tool from Google. And so many agents, there's so much prop tech out there. They want to be able to integrate their websites with lots of different providers, be that Moneypenny or a chat provider, whoever it might be. Again, you need to integrate that quickly. And you don't want to be stuck with a provider who, again, is going to deliver you a bill as soon as you sign up to a third party. And actually you've invested £50, £60 a month, whatever it might be. And suddenly you're stuck with a £500 bill to actually integrate the thing on your website. You can do all of these things through the Webdadi platform. So it's just helping you to open up the website space, essentially.
Guys, thank you very much. Ollie, Elliot and Mark from Webdadi, thank you for your time today. Wish you all the best of luck. If I don't catch up before, have a great Christmas.
You too,
Great.
Simon.
Thank you, Simon. Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys.